I'm Maggie Arsenal, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the need to dissolve the law about estate taxes. As a little story to implicate how this could affect someone's life, when I grow up and I start to have a family and I have kids and I have a husband, I would like to be able to go out and build land and buy land and be able to build like a cabin or a tree house and just like little things on the land for my family to be able to call a second home and to be able to spend time there and grow together and make memories together, and maybe even like take my friends there sometimes to hang out and stuff. And I know that one day there will come a time that when I pass away and my husband passes away and the land is no longer in our name because we had passed. And at that point I would want to be able to pass this land down to my children and my family in order for them to continue growing, making these memories, and spreading throughout the family and just passing this down generation after generation. And the only issue with this, if you do not know already, an estate tax is a tax that is levied on the net value of the estate of a deceased/dead person before distribution to their heirs. So basically, if I wanted to pass down a plot of land or some property or an asset or something to one of my relatives or anyone in general, I would first have to, the individual that was receiving the land from me would have to pay a massive tax on this in order to take it. Even though individuals that have owned this land previously had worked so hard to upkeep the land and had paid it off or anything like that, there would still be a tax even if the land was completely paid off and owned by the deceased person. The government would put a tax on it, and the individual would not be able to receive the land until they paid this tax. And this becomes an issue, and it needs to be resolved because it takes away very valuable items and very valuable property and land and things that just mean a lot to people, and they're just unable to afford it to continue making these memories. This is also described as like a wealthy tax because only the wealthy individuals are able to afford this, and they're the only ones that are able to keep this land and keep making these memories and pass it down generation after generation because they are the only ones that are able to afford it, because it is usually a very large tax. And this causes most people to sell, they're being forced to sell the land that they should be receiving because they're unable to pay this tax on the land that needs to be paid in order for them to receive it and continue using it just like their ancestors or their friends or whoever the deceased individual was that had it previously to them. So the government wants to be able to keep this tax in the law system and keep this as a tax because it raises quite a bit of money for the government in order for them to pay for different things. But I believe that if we were able to dissolve this tax or even lessen it, just lower the tax and make it not as much as it costs nowadays, it would have a great impact, and that we would still be able to raise the money in other ways through the government besides estate taxes. And dissolving this law will allow these individuals to inherit their ancestors' land and assets without having any issues with property or anything like that. So I believe that we need to begin this process of dissolving this law, because you can't start it from like the top. You need to start with contact through local senators, congressmen, and even maybe state representatives about this issue in order for the word to get around and the word to be spread that this needs to be dissolved in order for these people to keep making memories and save this land through generation after generation after generation and be able to continue making these long-lasting memories that'll last a lifetime. before anything could ever change about this topic. Thank you.